Shalom, salam. So great to be together with the Samaritans today. Welcome, welcome, welcome again. We are so happy to be together today with all of you. First of all, I'm Ghassan Manasra with Shahabuddin, David Less, and with the Samaritan community part, the representatives of the Samaritans. Soon we will introduce them. It's so great to have you today together again, to be a very great community, as one community of love and hearts. Before we'll begin, I'll ask Shahabuddin if he would like to say something. After that, we will see some pictures of the last conference that Abrahamic Reunion supported and created that conference in Nablus in Palestine. Shahabuddin.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you, Sheikh Ghassan. And we're really, usually at the beginning we say we're very happy to have our special guests here, but today it's special guests. So you have to imagine that you're sitting with people not of today, but really ancient history. Not just the written history and the known history, but the depth of history that's in our hearts, and usually we're not aware of it. The Samaritan community, as I'm sure they'll share, is really ancient, back to the time of Abraham. And who knows, maybe before that. But we're just really happy to have everybody here today. And the Samaritan community has worked in harmony and in concert with the Abrahamic Reunion for years now. And we were just there in June, and it was a delightful visit, a wonderful visit. The only thing that made me a little sad was that we didn't stay long enough. Mm-hmm. So we're going back again in December, and hopefully we'll really spend some time. So thank you all for being here. And I don't know who's going to start, Abdallah or Yaqub, but it's all yours. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Shahabuddin. We will introduce a little bit pictures. After that, we will invite them. Thank you, Shahabuddin. Yes, Akbar, the pictures, please. Yeah. before I'll introduce Jacob and Abdallah, I would like from Jacob to begin our meeting with a prayer. We say the Fatiha of the Samaritans. Please, Jacob.
Hello, I'm Dan Cohen. Today I'll read the prayer that we pray when we're starting to pray and stuff. I'm going to read it in the Torah language and translate to the English language, starting from the Torah language. Ki afsham shema ikra, wa bugad al-lalowin, astarta min fa'alu, tilka al-dereka mashma, al-ahuna win ul, sadiq yashar ul, barak elu winu lulam, barak shemu lulam. Now to translate in English, it means, for I will proclaim the name of the Lord, ascribe greatness to our God, the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are justice, a God of faithfulness and without iniquity. Just and upright is he. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Danny, the son of Dr. Jacob. It's so great. Before I'll invite Dr. Jacob, I want to say, once our family say we need to go to visit in Nablus, and we will go to visit also the Samaritans, but they are living on the mountain. Ghassan, will you come with us? I was about 12, 13 years old. I say, yes, I will. And during the night, I begin to imagine how we can hike, how we can drive that mountain. And really, we arrived. And when we arrived, we began to get up. And suddenly, I felt myself, I'm going up to divine, to meet a very high light. And when we arrived, we entered, I saw the Cohens, the rabbis, the great people there, the scholars. Their dress was so different for me, with the turban, with their clothing and so on. And really, it was so great experience for me since I was 13 years old. And I remember one of the Cohens, I don't know what his name, he put his hand on my head and he read for me something I didn't know what it was until today. No one explained to me what it was, but I felt the blessing with my heart since that time. We have with us now Dr. Jacob Cohen. He is the head of the organization, the Samaritan Legends organization in Mount Gerizim. I'll be happy to invite you to say your words and to share with us about the community. Please, Dr. Jacob.
Thank you, Sheikh Ghassan. We promised that after a month you come here. If you come in 1st of October, we'll feast Sukkot, so we'll use Sukkot in our holiday. So you have invitation. Here from the Mount Gerizim, the mount of the holy mountain of the Samaritan. I will begin the Samaritan language, As-Salam Alaikum. It means Assalamu Alaikum and peace be upon you. So a long time before, let's say 10 years, was organized, opened my association, called it Samaritan Legends Association. Why I opened it? Because I see in that moment that no one know about the Samaritan. Let's say in the New Testament they write Good Samaritan. Everyone reads the Bible, Good Samaritan. Okay, maybe this Samaritan was before 1,000 years and disappeared from the world. I opened my association to say to them, no, we exist. We now, until yet, we have our old tradition. We have our old language. We live here from 3,600 years. Our number before 500 years or more was 2 million. And before 100 years, it came down until 140 only. Thank God, now we are 850. Okay, our number is very, very little, but I say we have our oldest language in the world, our oldest heritage in the world. So with this association, I begin here from Nablus to do a lecture, an exhibition about the Samaritan. I began in the University of Najah in Nablus. In that time, when we organized, someone said to me, if we get 40 visitors, we have success. When it began, we have 400 visitors. And there was, we know Samaritan, but we don't know that you have this thing about the Samaritan. Some of them said, okay, this is a sector from the Jew. Some of them, they think that Samaritan is a Muslim, but their family are Samaritan. No, we have, I say, our oldest language in the world. Let's say, with Sheikh Ghassan, I meet with him for 5 years, and we do many meetings about Samaritan, about peace, about dialogue. But before 1 year, I speak with him and with my friend Ihab, let's do something unique, something, what we can do for a Samaritan, to publish the Samaritan, not to publish to be a Samaritan, to show the world what a Samaritan. So we decide to do a first Samaritan conference here in Nablus. And why we prefer Nablus? Because our heritage, our history in Nablus and Mount Gerizim. And so we do it in last December. It was a success one. And it took about 2 hours. It was every leadership from all the religion came to see this conference. My hope, if when this year I do it here in Nablus, second time I will do it something in Europe or USA, to go to many people in the world to show them how is Samaritan. So my name is Jacob. I am the son of the high priest. My father is the high priest of Samaritan, and his father is the high priest. So something unique for Samaritan or more for me or for my family, I can go by the family tree until Moses. So I can go back 3,600 years by name and by history, because I am from family of Levi. My father is the high priest for the Samaritan. It's my prayer all the time as Samaritan, our prayer, let's say, to be peace upon all the world, not with let's say, between the Palestinian and the Jew, and between all the world. We see now the sacrifice and everything in the massacre that go with all the world because of the religion and because of the nationality. So we are one people, we have one God. And if I am a Samaritan, you are Christian, you are Muslim, and you are a Jew. But in the end, we have one God, and our roots is the same. Thank you, Sheikh Hassan. Thank you, David. I will leave for the microphone to Abdallah. He will continue this meeting. Thank you.
Before, thank you, I want to say something. It's great that you mentioned the Samaritan conference, that we did it in coalition between Abrahamic Reunion and you. And it's, as Shahabuddin say, before that, we in a long connection together with the Samaritans, and really Abrahamic Reunion and the Samaritans did lots of great meetings, lots of great peace process, as Abrahamic Reunion promised to the world to introduce to the world all of the small minorities in the world, like the Samaritans, like the Druze, like others. We will continue to do that, and we will be together, Dr. Jacob, forward. Please.
I want to add something. In 2018, I was invited with Frank Kaisid for the meeting in Heat Beach. Yeah? And I was there, and was many leadership from all the world. It was for 2 days. The second day, I asked who manager this meeting, dialogue, I want to get some speech for 5 minutes. He said me, we cannot, because it's the prime minister, and enough you are join us. I tell him I have a message from the high priest. And he said, okay, you will be the second one who speak. When I go, I begin with Samaritan language. They were translate from all the language, but when I begin from Samaritan language, they stopped to translate, and was shocked from where he came. So I said, I will translate what I pray, and it was, so what you are from where? From the beginning, maybe I was shake hands for 5. After I finish my speech, all the visitors, they want to shake my hand. We said, okay, you are the good Samaritan now. We will think that, you know, Samaritan. Thank you again, and Mr. Abdallah.
Thank you, Uncle Jacob, and thank you, Abraham Records, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Abood. I'm a tour guide on Mount Gerizim. That's our village where we live. And so, yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I love humanity, and I think together we can create really beautiful things that can change the world. And I think, you know, everyone basically having peace is something that everyone, I think, wishes for. So thank you for that. I do want to give you a few facts about the Samaritan community. I think there's so much to talk about, but a good summary would be a little bit about our history, culture, and traditions. And I'm sure most of the viewers today, they know about the Good Samaritan maybe story. The Good Samaritan, some hospitals today are actually named the Good Samaritan. And I actually heard it on Netflix actually just about a month ago. So it's a very, very international term, but people actually rarely hear about the Samaritan community itself. So who are the Samaritans? So if you recall the story of the Good Samaritan, there was this Samaritan who was coming from the north of the land to the south, and he, on his way, he saw an injured Jewish person. And before 2,000 years ago, the Samaritans and the Jewish people were they were enemies, basically, because we believed that we used to be one nation. But basically, we believe we come back to the Israelites. 3,650 years ago, the Israelites entered the Holy Land. And then the story, as we believe it goes, is that 450 years after the Israelites' entry to the Holy Land, there was a split that happened. There was the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. So basically, the north was called Samaria, and the south was called the Kingdom of Judah. And the most important difference is basically Mount Gerizim. So Mount Gerizim for us is the place where we believe Abraham, for example, almost sacrificed his son Isaac. You know the story of Abraham and Isaac, and also the story of Jacob when he had the dream of angels falling up and down. So I want to share my screen here and try to show you a few pictures about Mount Gerizim. I think. Let me know if it's okay. Everything's okay here. You see it?
Yeah, we see you well.
All right. So I'm sharing the one over here on the right. So this is Nablus or Shechem. Shechem means, well, it's also in Hebrew, it means shoulders, because it's on the right and on the left. You can see Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. So it's basically, that's where it comes from. And Mount Gerizim is also where a lot of prophets came. So 400 years after the Israelites entered to the Holy Land, the split happened, and the Samaritans were not known really as Samaritans. They were known as the Northern Israelites. But, you know, across many years, it was also named Samaria, and eventually there was different nations that controlled the north and the south. The Kingdom of Samaria collapses at some point, and the number of the Samaritans 3,000 years ago was actually believed to be almost 2 million. And because of the many massacres that unfortunately happened in the land, some exiles that happened, the Samaritans number today we are 850 all over the world. We don't really know if there's any Samaritans other than us. I mean, we might be, who knows, some people might contact us on the internet one day and tell us, hey, we are Samaritans. But until now, that didn't happen. There was no Samaritan who came and told us we speak ancient Hebrew, for example. So we believe we have the ancient Hebrew since the Israelites. And this is, if I add Samaritan, would be also a little bit better here. So this is our language over here on the right, or for example, here. And what's, I think is interesting to see, for example, let me show you here. Do you see, for example, this triangle? This triangle is in, which means I. And basically it is symbolic for the human eye. So we say I, in, or for example, we say shin over here, which means teeth. So it's also kind of drawn as teeth. So it was kind of a holographic language that we actually learned how to speak at a very early age. At about five years old, we start learning how to read and speak ancient Hebrew. Although we don't use it to speak, our mother tongue language is actually Arabic where we live. The other half of the Samaritans are actually on Mount Ebal. In Cholon in Tel Aviv. I'm not sure why I said Mount Ebal, but Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim are basically the ones where we believe God asked to put the blessings were in Mount Gerizim, and the ones where cursings were in Mount Ebal. That was in Deuteronomy. So there's also a way I want you to see how a Samaritan priest looks like. So a Samaritan priest, we have Levites, like my uncle said. For example, this is my grandfather over here. He's the high priest, the father of my uncle. And our high priest, we believe, basically is a direct descendant of the Aaron's family, like basically the extended Aaron's family. So about my grandfather is considered to be number 137th high priest. And as long as you're living on Mount Gerizim and you're from the Cohen family, if you're the oldest of them one day, you can be a high priest. So today we still have those clothings, as you can see, and we mostly wear this on festivals and holidays and Shabbat. So on a normal day, you wouldn't recognize a Samaritan unless he's older than 60 years old. And so yeah, also one more thing I want to show, one of our most beautiful festivals, when my uncle talked about Sukkot. If you haven't ever seen a Samaritan Sukkah, this is how it looks like. For example, people can do any shape they want, really, as long as they put pomegranates and lemons and certain citrus in the middle. So the story of this is basically when the Israelites were wandering in the desert, God protected them with clouds from the heat of the sun. So this is a symbol to remember this miracle. So every family gathers during those few days and they start designing this kind of like an equivalent. I see it as an equivalent of a Christmas tree in many ways. It stays for about 8 days in the ceiling, and everyone goes to visit and see, other families' Sukkot. So basically all the family helps in making it. I love the smell of it and it looks amazing. My uncle is considered to be one of the best makers of the Sukkot. I work with him to make, to decide what shape do we want to do. So yeah, you're very welcome to come and visit us. Also, we get a lot of tourists from all over the world to see the Sukkot festival, which is going to be next month. So, and also I think it's worth mentioning a story, which is there's no picture over here, but you're welcome to see also Jacob's Well in Nablus. It's really near us. If you don't know Jacob's Well, there's a story that happens. There's a story that happened that Jesus basically comes to Samaria, and on his way he wants to drink from a well, and he meets a Samaritan woman. And the Samaritan woman was surprised, and she asked him, "How can you ask me for water? You are Jewish and I'm a Samaritan." So she also tells him, "And our fathers believed in this mountain, but your people believe in Jerusalem." So this difference, even though it happened 2,000 years ago, it's really interesting to see Jesus interacting with the Samaritan, because one time he also healed 10 lepers. Maybe some of you also know the story, and only a Samaritan came back and thanked him. So he used the Samaritans as almost like as an example of why you should love your enemy, or why you should love your neighbor, or even when you think that when you're generalizing that all the other parts are bad, it's not necessarily that everyone is bad. So this is one of the most famous examples around the world. I think also I want to mention something worth mentioning is how where do we pray? We pray in the synagogue. So we call it Knesset. This is how a Samaritan synagogue looks like. This is where the cantor prays, and this is a Samaritan Torah. So notice there's also a curtain behind the Torah. This curtain is changed about like monthly, and behind the curtain is one of our most sacred and possessions, which is we believe is the oldest Torah scroll in the world. We believe the third high priest, his name was Abisha, the son of Eli, and the son of Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, who was the son of Aaron, the brother of Moses. So we're talking about 3,600 years old scroll that we only bring out 3 times a year for the people to get blessings from it. And we have on Shabbat, that's where we go to the synagogue. So we go for 7 hours of prayer on Shabbat. There's an hour at the entry of Shabbat, and then all the people gather, like the extended family. We drink a little bit of tea and cake and just talk about what happened during the week. We're not allowed to use any electricity for 24 hours. So no phones, no computers, no social media. And then we would go to sleep at a pretty early age, time, sorry. So about 9 p.m., some people start sleeping. So we have to wake up at 3 a.m. to pray for 3 hours. And these are really beautiful 3 hours. Like the melodies are amazing. And it's not like you're forced to focus or anything. It's just 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. At 6 a.m., we go out in the streets and see the beautiful sunrise, and then go back to read a small portion of the Torah, and then a beautiful breakfast. So we have a foot in the old world and a foot in the new world all the time. And I think it's beautiful that we still keep this thing that our ancestors basically passed down to us. I think wisdom today is something that shouldn't be taken for granted. It has always been, of course. So there's a lot to talk about. I'm not sure how limited is our time, but I think you did mention you want to give questions. So.
Abdallah, I would like to ask, it's very important what you show us. If you have a very specific, come to say, rituals or ceremonies that you are doing, and you want to talk to us about that. I understand from you that the sacrifice was in Mount Gerizim,
right?
Not in a different place. Can you explain to us a little bit about this?
Yeah, of course. So one of the differences between the Samaritan community and the Jewish people is that it's the way we practice the Passover ceremony. So today, the Jewish people, because they believe there is no temple, that they can't be a Passover exactly like it's commanded in the Torah, because the Torah commands every family of the Israelites, like the extended family, to bring a sheep on the place chosen, which for us was Mount Gerizim. So the pictures you see here are some of the pictures from the Passover ceremony. The story goes that God asks the Israelites and commands the Israelites, in order to pass down the story of the Exodus from Egypt and saving the Israelites from the slavery of Pharaoh. He asks them to do this ritual of basically preparing the sheep, each family bringing 1 or 2 sheep, and then sacrificing it to God, and then eating it actually at midnight, basically. So just when the Israelites exit Egypt, it was also midnight. So on this day, people gather in this it's a huge place where we do the sacrifice. Basically, each family can bring 1 or 2 sheep. They're prepared in a specific way, exactly like we read in the Torah. For example, we're not allowed to break any bone in the animal. So the whole animal, after slaughtering it and cleaning it, it has to be put on a long stick, and then we enter them inside big ovens. Each oven can hold about 9 sheep, almost like the ones you see here. And I understand some people, it's like not easy images, but basically this is something that a lot of tourists come to watch. It's a really ancient ritual. So at about 9 p.m. we put the sheep inside those ovens. This happens once a year, by the way. So we put the sheep inside those ovens for about 3 hours. So from 9 p.m. until 12. And then 12 at midnight, people come back to this place very hungry. The smell of the meat will be everywhere. And we open the ovens, and before we eat, we're not allowed to eat yet. We have to sing one of the most beautiful melodies in the Samaritan community. So a 5-minute melody, everyone very strong voice, kind of celebrating freedom and independence from slavery. And then we eat. So with unleavened bread also, because, we need to remember that the Israelites exit Egypt very fast. They wanted to finish the bread very fast. So it was unleavened. So that's, how we remember it. Kind of like the Jewish matzot, although the Jewish people do not do the ceremony because, again, there's no temple needed. We believe that for this specific sacrifice, which is the only one we do in the year, we do not need a temple, because the commandment was not for only for the Levites, it was for all the children of Israel. And who was allowed to be in the temple? Only the Levites. So this one was for all the children of Israel. So
thank you. Thank you. More question, and after that we'll open it to, as a minority living in Nablus, and we were together, Abrahamic Reunion and the Samaritans, and we did lots of things to bring the people to be together, to understand one another, to know one another, and to create peace and love and harmony, and to live as a human being, as one family in humanity. What the Samaritans doing and did and are humanity. What the Samaritans doing and did and will do for the future, to combine all of the people together. What is the rule? What is your mission there to bring all of these people to be with you? I know you have lots of challenges, not only with the Arabs, also with the Jewish and with everyone, but how we can, take this and bright it. Please.
Right. So to make sure I got your question correctly. So you mean because we're a small minority and we want to expand, right? It's getting a little bit challenging to keep ourselves as a small community. So it's a really great question, because 100 years ago, the number of the Samaritans is known to be basically in 1919. There was an American researcher, a scholar, who came to this place over here, and he was shocked at what he saw. He said that it's almost like seeing the ancient mammoth, the elephant, but cultural equivalent of that. So basically, the number of the Samaritans at that time was a very small number, and probably some researchers thought that we're going to, get extinct in a sense. Like there's not gonna be any Samaritans around the world. There's someone who even took a picture from almost like one picture from the face and from the right, So at that time we were afraid, obviously, but luckily things got a little bit better, and some part of us found some jobs near Tel Aviv, near Jaffa, and slowly, our economic situation got better, and we increased at a pretty big rate, about 800 in about 80 years. So. And some of the challenges today that we're facing is the place. So, for example, in the ones who are living in Tel Aviv, they're not finding houses close to the community, and that's obviously a challenge. And also the marriage situation. So, for example, as a Samaritan, you're considered a Samaritan from the father side, not from the mother side, like in the Jewish traditions. And there's also, of course, like when we marry from outside the community, the woman specifically, we didn't have men converting. We don't have missionary or anything, but because men do not have, basically, we have almost the same number of men and women, but some men don't have women to marry in the community, so they have to go outside the community. But the woman has to convert and become a Samaritan and learn how to teach the new generation, basically. How to raise them to be Samaritan. So these are some of the challenges, and we're doing pretty good.
Thank you, Shahabuddin. We have now with us one of the greatest, Cohen, the father of Yaqub. If you want to say something, to invite him to pray for us before the questions.
Yes. Listen, if you add Abdallah Cohen, will join us from my father, my son is Abdallah Cohen. You can add it to speak with him.
So I was like,
Shahabuddin, invite him.
I'm happy to invite him. Are we inviting Yaqub's father, the high priest? Who are we inviting? I'm not clear.
Yes, Yaqub's father.
No, it was another thing. His name Abdallah Cohen. Can I add it?
Yes, oh, Emolem, Every Koikis, Ma, you, Ma, Lord, Ma, Mo, Le, Yahweh, İstesem apanay, Ekoya, Senu, Vawa, Akisa, Lord, Semo, itise, Alevani, Israel, Wani, Mawa, Noah.
That was Aaron's blessings, by the way. God bless you and keep you. God may shine his. That was Aaron's blessings, by the way. God bless you and keep you. God may shine his face upon you, and God give you peace.
Thank you so much. It's Shahabuddin, would you like to say about this first thing?
Well, in Hinduism, oddly enough, one of the names for God is Nada Brahma. And what does it mean? It means sound is God. Sound is God. And if you just listen to that last prayer without knowing any of the words, certainly it resounds certainly in the heart, because soul speaks to soul, heart speaks to heart. So the power of that prayer is deeper than the meaning of the words. But the sound, we believe, is a revelation from the infinite. The sound, the pure sound, is a revelation. So in a way, Sheikh Ghassan, you asked in another way, what's the purpose? Where are the Samaritans going? Well, they are maintaining something that Abood and Yaqub both said over and over again. The language, the ancient language, is not just the meaning, but the power of the sounds. And I think, should that gift be taken from the world, it would be a great, great tragedy, frankly.
Well said.
So what wonderful things all of you are doing to maintain this pure gift from God for humanity. And frankly, I pray that it grows and grows and grows, and that your wisdom and your purity abounds around the planet, because we all can benefit.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen. Amen.
Well said.
Please, yeah.
No, I just wanted to say that I can't agree more. It is definitely powerful, and we believe that we are super privileged to be able to keep this tradition alive. We have over 10,000 different poems that we've kept from our ancestors. From those 10,000, we have more than 1,000 melodies that we use to sing those 10,000 poems. And those melodies, sometimes one word can take up to a minute to sing. And you cannot exactly read the melodies on the paper. It's all passed down by really sitting and learning from your ancestors and your fathers. So it's definitely a beautiful tradition. We're happy to be able to keep.
Please, Yaqub.
Yes, I have published a new book, To Be a
Samaritan.
Samaritan. It speaks about when I born as a child in big population, about 200,000, and we are 400. How you can go to school, you cannot, it's not allowed to eat from this school everything. How they show you that you are a Samaritan, maybe you are a Jew. And how I get, when I go to Saturday, You know, in Saturday we keep Shabbat. We don't light a television. We don't light a speaker's telephone. How I can get this for me and for small population. So in this book, I write all of these things, how we keep feast day, Yom Kippur, how we have a child. You know, Kippur from Samaritan, from the child until the grandfather, all them must feast from the food, not from 13. So I write in the book. I have write 3 books. I will translate all the 3 books to English and will send you to read it, inshallah.
Please.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Inshallah. Do it. Yes, Shaudi.
Yeah, there are a few questions that people are asking. One is about the role of women, and are there women priests?
Should I answer him, Ashab?
Please.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you. So there are no women priests, but the role of the woman in the community is no less than the man, really. It's really, she's very, very respected. She's considered to be, you know, the one who is going to raise, I mean, not the only one, but she's basically the future of our generations, the next generation. And they do come also to the synagogue, especially in the festivals. They go and they come to take the blessings from the Bisha scroll that I talked about, and also they come to the pilgrimage and join men with prayer. So, but we do not have a woman priestess, no.
Also in our association, we are 9 members. Yeah, I got 5 female and 4 male. So we have equal. Girl and boy, the same. Because in the Bible, right, man or woman, is that night man only.
Right. Yes.
Yep. I want to say something. You mentioned that you have melodies or something in 1 minute. Can you do one melody, if you can, a short, very short melody, to allow the people to hear your melodies during the sacrificing? Anything that you like in 1 minute, you know.
انت مثال يعني اعطي
مثال اعطينا اغنيه هيك بسيطه انشوده بسيطه.
One time my father wanted me to be one of those first people, one of those only people, there's 30 only who know this melody, because it's very long, it's 15 minutes long, but we're not allowed to look. And he told me, if you learn it, I will buy you an iPhone. Oh. He wanted me desperately to learn this melody, and I started to listen to it every time I go to school, every time I'm back, while playing video games. It's just stuck in my mind, and I loved it. And then one day I told him, okay, Dad, I'm ready. And he said, no, you're not going to sing it to me. You're going to sing it to the high priest. And that, obviously, I didn't sleep that night. But the next day I go to the high priest. It was not my grandfather. It was another high priest before him. And the first word, for example, in this poem, well, the first few words are like, this, Barreku Shabba'u Rabbu Urumemu, which means bless, praise, glorify, so, and God, and then talks about all the, you know, really the Israelite story and the creation. So the first word to sing it is like this. It's Barreku, and we sing it like this. Barre. That's the first word. And then the second word. That's the second word. So you can see why he was willing to bet an iPhone in my grandfather.
If you can to read for them for Aziyashar.
Yes, Aziyashar is also the song of the sea, and there's 5 melodies for the Aziyashar. The one where it's where we read it fast, we say Aziyashar Mushi without a melody. The second one is a little bit like, it sounds like and then there's a slower one. and then the slowest. So, and of course, everyone. The beautiful thing about these songs and melodies is that all the community, well, not all the melodies, but there's about 400 out of the 1,000 melodies, which all the community knows. And when you sing it together, it gives such an incredible feeling of sense of community and what you talked about also, Mr. David, which is the power of sound. So.
Abdallah and Yaqub, thank you for that. But we have more 8 minutes because, you know, the time usually ran quickly in a very important and very serious and very beautiful meetings. But if anyone would like to ask question, we'll be happy. But before that, I would like to say that really it's a great partnership, great alliance. We are doing Abrahamic Reunion and the Samaritan Community, and we will continue like this. We will support one another. We will create more meetings, and next time when we'll have we will come, we will visit, as I told you, Yaqub, in December. We will come to visit you. We know that it will be a little bit cold, not like in New York, but it's very, very cold there, you know.
Very good.
Yes, but the warmest heart that you have, it will keep us in safe. We will come, inshallah, to visit you, you know. And also about the conference that we did it together, we supported, and we will continue, inshallah, in the future to support many conferences together. We will do. It will be great. But if anyone would like to ask question, we have more 7 minutes. It will be great to do that. What do you think, Shahabuddin? It's good to.
I want to add one thing, if I may.
Yeah, please.
And I'm going to make a little commercial for Abood.
Yeah.
He does a podcast in English.
Yeah.
And I hope that the contact is in the chat. I haven't looked, but really, it just seems so important for the connection of any spiritual person who does practice with sound, who does prayer, to hear from the Samaritans. So please, is it once a week, Abood?
The podcast is something that I started with two friends from Tel Aviv and a friend from Nablus, and we really talk about important subjects around the world that are also connected to peacemaking. So it's definitely one thing you can follow me at, and also follow our work, my team's work. And we're going to get back to podcasting soon, because the last episode was a month ago. And also you can see my documentary on YouTube about the Samaritans if you search for my name, Abood Cohen, ABOOD I think it's a good place to see really beautiful visuals over there. And also you might be surprised if you search Samaritan Opera. We have sometimes we have teams that go outside and even sing in concerts. So that didn't happen a lot, but did happen a few times. You can search for that.
Thank you.
So there's another question. Which holidays, at least by name, overlap with traditional Jewish holidays? You mentioned Pesach, but what others? Is there Yom Kippur? Is there besides?
Well,
Shabbat?
we have the same, all of them the same. We only don't have. So what we have is we have the Passover, we have Rosh Hashanah, which is the first, the head of the year. We have the Shavuot, which is the 7 weeks. Yom Kippur, like I said, Sukkot. So we have all of the festivals, but we only don't have Purim and Chanukah. All those two.
And
but the way
I
we
have
practice
a
them is
question.
different.
Is the Torah the same?
So if you take both Torahs and you put them beside each other and you start like searching for those differences, it's not that easy to spot them, but there's about 5,000 small differences. So one word, because of the differences in the word, for example, one word can be missing a letter, and that can change the meaning of the word, right? And this happened because of the transition to, one of the reasons is because the Jewish people transitioned to Assyrian Hebrew today. So the language you see in Israel today is the Assyrian font, Hebrew, but the Assyrian font. So yeah.
A question I want to say before we will finish, because we have more 4 minutes. Thank you, Shahabuddin. It's great questions. I think it's give us more knowing to know more the Samaritan religion. But I would like to ask, maybe we'll close with this in a very short, the effect of the conference. You remember you did the conference in Nablus, and we were there. Abrahamic Reunion were with you, if you remember. What is the effect of that on the people? What it did for the people, all the Christians, Jews, Muslims, and Samaritans? Any short. What do you think, Yaqub or Abdullah?
I will speak. In this conference, we show that all the world, we are a small community, can you make united for all the region under one feeling. So as you see, from many region comes because we consider ourselves that a bridge for peace for all the region. Because the Samaritans suffer. Samaritan, I tell you, our number was 2 million and go down, not go down by suddenly because of war and everything, and they convert to another region by force, so our number go down. So we can save all the people. By war, no one will win. By peace, every side will win. This is our message from this conference. And after it, we get our message that we want for the second conference to share with you, to be with you, to say how our message for the Samaritan and for the world, to learn from Samaritan how to exist, how to be a bridge for peace.
Wow. Then you show that all of the world that you are Abrahamic Reunion. You know, yeah. It's Abrahamic Reunion. It's all of the religions together. Thank you so much. It was so great to be with you, and I think this is the first episode in our Zoom meetings. We will do more and more until we will come to meet you, and until you'll do the second conference, inshallah, and you'll succeed to do that. Thanks from our hearts, and we love you so much. Shahabuddin, would you like to say something?
Well, just very simply, I feel like everyone who is on this meeting today, from now on, you're in their hearts, you're in their consciousness, and they won't forget you. And that's real love. Even though we don't know you that well outwardly, inwardly the connection just seems so real. So thank you both, and blessings to you both. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I would like to say something. If you will put your connection on chat, and the people, maybe they can contact you, ask you questions, send you kisses or love or some light, you know, it's very important. Put in chat your details, and inshallah, all of us will be in connection with you, right?
Inshallah, yes.
Right. Yeah. Inshallah. And please eat knafi, because Nablus is very famous. Eat knafi and baklava for all of the people here. Okay?
It's very worth it. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I found this video you wanted to show earlier, the very short one. Should I show that as we close?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my son getting blessed. My grandson, sorry.
God bless you. Okay.
So that was my grandson, Asher.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Shalom, salam, peace, love.
Peace.